What if I told you that the biggest threat to your Social Security payment in 2026 isn't a government shutdown, a benefit cut, or even inflation? What if the real danger is something far quieter, something that can happen without a single warning sign until the day your money simply doesn't arrive? Imagine waking up on the morning your deposit is supposed to hit your account. You've planned your bills around it. Your groceries depend on it. Your prescriptions depend on it. You check your balance expecting everything to be normal. But instead of seeing your monthly payment, you see nothing. No deposit, no explanation, no advance notice. Just a missing payment and a growing sense that something has gone terribly wrong. It sounds like a nightmare, but for a growing number of retirees, it has become a reality. And the most alarming part is that many of these people did nothing wrong. They weren't reckless. They weren't careless. They weren't ignoring important notices. They simply missed one small change happening inside the Social Security system, and by the time they realized it, the damage had already been done. That's exactly why you need to pay close attention today, because what we're about to discuss affects nearly every person who receives Social Security benefits, retirement income, disability payments, or other federal benefits. More importantly, understanding these changes could help protect the money you've spent decades earning. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, you're in the right place. We break down the latest Social Security updates, retirement news, benefit changes, and financial developments in plain English without the confusing jargon. And today we're talking about a change that sounds simple on the surface, but carries major consequences for millions of Americans. For generations, receiving a paper check in the mail was simply part of life. Every month, retirees would wait for that familiar envelope, take it to the bank, and continue with their routine. It wasn't perfect, but it was familiar. However, that era is quickly coming to an end. The federal government has spent years transitioning benefit payments away from paper checks and toward electronic delivery systems. Today, the overwhelming majority of Social Security recipients receive their benefits through direct deposit or electronic payment methods. In fact, only a very small percentage of beneficiaries still receive paper checks. Government officials have made it clear that electronic payments are now the standard and that shift is accelerating. At first glance, this sounds like good news. Electronic deposits are faster. They eliminate postal delays. They reduce administrative costs. They often arrive more reliably than traditional paper checks. Government agencies have repeatedly pointed out that paper checks are significantly more likely to be lost, stolen, damaged, or delayed compared to electronic payments. From an efficiency standpoint, the move makes sense. But here's where things become more complicated. When your entire retirement income depends on a direct deposit system, your banking information becomes one of the most valuable pieces of information you possess. In the past, a thief might have needed physical access to your mailbox to interfere with your payment. Today, they don't need your mailbox. They need your information. And unfortunately, that's exactly what criminals have become exceptionally skilled at obtaining. Many retirees still picture scammers as obvious fraudsters, making poorly written phone calls or sending emails filled with spelling mistakes. Those days are largely gone. Modern scammers have evolved. They use sophisticated technology. They study government programs. They understand how beneficiaries think. And perhaps most importantly, they know how to create urgency. Some criminals can make their phone number appear identical to an official government office. Others create emails that look almost indistinguishable from legitimate correspondence. Some even use artificial intelligence to generate realistic conversations that sound professional, knowledgeable, and trustworthy. The result is that many scam attempts no longer feel like scams at all. They feel legitimate. Investigators often describe these fraud attempts using a pattern that appears repeatedly. First comes the impersonation. Someone claims to represent Social Security, Medicare, a government agency, your bank, or another trusted institution. Next comes the problem. You're told that your benefits are at risk, your account has been flagged, your Social Security number has been compromised, or unusual activity has been detected. Then comes the pressure. You're informed that immediate action is required. Delaying could result in suspended benefits, delayed payments, or serious consequences. Finally comes the request. Personal information, banking details, verification codes, account numbers, anything that helps them gain access to your financial life. What makes these scams so dangerous is that they often sound reasonable. The caller may be calm, polite, and professional. They don't sound like criminals. They sound like someone trying to help solve a problem. And that's exactly what makes them effective. Fear changes behavior. When people believe their monthly income may be in danger, they naturally focus on fixing the issue as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, that urgency can cloud judgment. Imagine receiving a phone call from someone who claims to be with Social Security. They know your name. They know where you live. They sound professional. They explain that suspicious activity has been detected on your account. They reassure you that they're calling to help protect your benefits. Then they begin asking questions. They need to verify your identity. They need to confirm your account details. They need to ensure your next payment isn't interrupted. Everything sounds logical. Everything sounds reasonable, until you realize that the information they're requesting could give them exactly what they need to gain access to your benefits. This is why one of the most important habits you can develop is simple. Never trust unexpected contact involving your benefits. If someone calls, texts, or emails claiming to represent Social Security and asks for personal information, stop the conversation immediately. Do not provide details. Do not click links. Do not assume caller ID is accurate. Instead, end the communication and contact Social Security directly using official information you locate independently. That one habit alone can prevent the vast majority of fraud attempts from succeeding. At the same time, there are legitimate changes happening within the system that every beneficiary should understand. One of the most significant involves how quickly account updates are processed. In previous years, changing direct deposit information could take weeks. If you switched banks or updated account details, the process often moved slowly. While frustrating, those delays sometimes provided additional time to identify mistakes or suspicious activity. Today, many account updates can be processed much faster. In some situations, changes can take effect within a matter of days rather than weeks. For honest beneficiaries, this is a major improvement. It means fewer delays, fewer missed payments, and faster corrections when problems arise. But there is another side to this change. Faster processing means less time to catch fraudulent activity before it takes effect. If someone gains unauthorized access and changes your deposit information, the consequences can happen more quickly than in the past. This is one reason experts strongly encourage beneficiaries to create and maintain a personal online Social Security account. Many retirees hesitate when they hear this recommendation. Some feel uncomfortable with technology. Others worry about passwords or online security. Those concerns are understandable. But establishing your account provides an important layer of protection. It allows you to monitor your information, review your records, and receive notifications regarding significant account changes. More importantly, creating your account before someone else attempts to do so helps establish your ownership and control. Think of it like locking your front door. Most people don't wait until after a break-in to install a lock. They do it beforehand because prevention is always easier than recovery. The same principle applies here. Taking a few minutes today could save you enormous stress later. Another habit that deserves more attention is simply knowing when your payment should arrive. It sounds obvious, but many beneficiaries rarely check their accounts closely. They assume everything will continue working the way it always has. Most of the time, they're right. But when something does go wrong, early detection makes a tremendous difference. Mark your payment date on a calendar. Set a reminder. Check your account around the expected deposit date. If something looks unusual, investigate immediately rather than waiting several days to see if the issue resolves itself. Small routines often create the strongest protection. A 30-second account check each month may seem insignificant, but it can reveal problems before they become larger issues. Awareness is one of the most powerful financial tools available to retirees. It's also worth addressing a concern that surfaces almost every year. Headlines about government funding disputes, budget negotiations, and political battles often create anxiety among Social Security recipients. Whenever these stories appear, many people begin wondering whether their benefits will stop. Historically, Social Security payments have continued despite numerous political disagreements and funding debates. While it's always wise to stay informed, beneficiaries should understand that the most common threats to individual payments are usually much closer to home. Incorrect account information, identity verification issues, and fraud attempts are far more likely to affect an individual beneficiary than a headline coming out of Washington. For those who do not use a traditional bank account, alternative electronic payment options remain available. Programs designed specifically for beneficiaries provide secure methods for receiving monthly payments electronically. These options ensure that individuals without conventional banking relationships can still receive benefits safely and efficiently. Another often overlooked layer of protection comes from communication with trusted family members. Scammers thrive when people feel isolated. They rely on urgency and secrecy. They want victims making decisions alone. That's why discussing your benefit arrangements with a trusted spouse, child, sibling, or friend can be so valuable. You don't need to hand over control of your finances. You simply need someone you trust who can provide a second opinion if something seems suspicious. Many fraud attempts collapse the moment another person becomes involved. A simple conversation can reveal inconsistencies, expose warning signs, and prevent costly mistakes. In many cases, scammers specifically encourage secrecy because they know outside perspectives make their schemes easier to identify. The reality is that protecting your benefits doesn't require advanced technical skills. It doesn't require expensive software. And it certainly doesn't require living in fear. What it requires is awareness, patience, and healthy skepticism. The same instincts that have helped people avoid bad deals, suspicious offers, and questionable promises throughout their lives remain just as valuable today. If someone unexpectedly contacts you and creates urgency, slow down. If someone asks for sensitive information, verify independently. If something sounds too alarming, too convenient, or too good to be true, take a step back and investigate before acting. These simple habits can dramatically reduce your risk. As technology continues to reshape the way benefits are delivered, beneficiaries must adapt as well. That doesn't mean becoming a technology expert overnight. It simply means understanding that protecting your retirement income now involves protecting your information. Your bank account details, your social security number, your online credentials, and your personal records have become valuable targets. Treat them accordingly. At the end of the day, the biggest threat to your social security payment isn't direct deposit itself. Electronic payments are generally safe, efficient, and reliable. The real threat comes from individuals who seek to exploit confusion, fear, and lack of awareness. Fortunately, those threats can often be defeated with simple precautions and informed decision-making. Remember the key lessons. Never share sensitive information with someone who contacted you first. Verify independently. Monitor your account regularly. Establish your online account. Communicate with trusted family members. And investigate unusual activity immediately. The money you receive each month represents decades of work, sacrifice, and contributions. You've earned every dollar. Protecting those benefits deserves the same level of attention and care that went into earning them in the first place. If you found this information useful, consider sharing it with a parent, grandparent, friend, neighbor, or anyone who depends on Social Security income. One conversation today could prevent a major problem tomorrow. And if you want more updates on Social Security, retirement benefits, Medicare changes, and important financial news affecting seniors across America, make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Stay informed, stay cautious, stay protected, and we'll see you in the next video right here on Social Secure USA.